Hi, I'm Del Suggs, and I'm going to be your tour guide around an actual APCA exhibit hall. Whether it's your first time exhibiting or your 5th or 10th or 15th time at an APCA conference, we want you to have a good experience. Taking a walk around the exhibit hall will give you a chance to see what it's like to actually be at an exhibit hall. We don't have a lot of rules and regulations at an APCA conference. It's pretty simple. Treat your neighbors the way you want to be treated, the old golden rule. So let's take a walk around the hall and see how this applies. Retractable banners are a very popular way of decorating your booth. There is one rule you need to be aware of though. For example, with the banner here behind me, it's too close to the front of the booth. You can see this banner actually blocks the view into the next booth. Again, practice the golden rule. This banner should be at least 3 feet back from the front edge of the booth. Here's an example of a TV in a booth. Television is a wonderful means of attracting attention into your booth and having a chance to show what you can do live on stage. It's important to remember though, to keep the volume level down. There's not a headphone requirement in the APCA exhibit hall, but you want to remember to keep the volume at a level so that your neighbors can converse and you don't intrude into their space. Here's an example of a creative use of a retractable banner. You can see the banner has been placed on top of the table to give it added height. This wouldn't work in an exhibit hall with a low ceiling, but because we have 20-foot ceilings in here, it works perfectly fine. It gives it this added elevation and lift and makes things even more visible. You'll also notice at the bottom of the banner, they have a sign that says showcasing. This booth has a showcasing act, and by placing the sign here, they make it obvious that this act will be showcasing. Candy in your booth is always a great draw, as delegates like to stop by your booth and grab something to eat while they're passing through the exhibit hall. It's always important to remember to keep your candy individually wrapped. You can see all of these candies are clean and individually packaged. Don't have a bowl of M&Ms or jelly beans on your table, which delegates will actually be sticking their entire hand in order to grab some food. Keep things clean and hygienic. Here's another example of an inexpensive yet very effective design. You can see this booth has multiple photographs of all the different acts that they represent. This is very important because if you're familiar with an act, you can simply walk through the hall, you'll see the act on display, and you'll know immediately that this is the agency that handles that act. Very important. Also, if you have multiple acts that you represent with your agency, it's a very simple matter then to simply change out the photographs for the acts that you're pushing at any particular conference. You'll also see added that we have pictures of the showcasing acts along with the showcasing signs. This again, once again gives you the opportunity to let people know that your particular acts will be showcasing and when they'll be showcasing at the APCA conference. As you can see in this booth, it's standard procedure to put the table in the back of the booth. Every exhibit booth comes with a 6-foot or 8-foot table. Most exhibitors place it in the back of the booth so there's nothing blocking access to the booth, nothing to separate the exhibitor from delegates coming down the aisle. However, every booth is different and every agency is different. You'll look in the very next booth, you'll see the table in the very front. This is because this booth represents an author, and the author traditionally sits behind a table so he or she can autograph books. This is a very effective use of the table in the front of the booth. Here's an example of a booth with multiple TVs. You can see they have 2 television sets, and with headphones, they can have different delegations here enjoying 2 different acts at the same time. But you also want to point out one more thing. If you look up at their banner, you can see their banner is an 8-foot banner. APCA conference exhibit halls are not always 8 feet wide, however. They're often 6 feet wide. And if it's a 6-foot booth, an 8-foot banner wouldn't fit. So if you're ordering a special banner for your APCA booth, make sure you get an 8-foot banner and also a 6-foot version for the smaller exhibit halls. All booths are not created equally. This associate is Campus Spa. They are doing what's called a booth demo. So they have a large booth. They have actually purchased 2 booths to use for their demonstrations. As you can see, they have chair massage, they have wax hands, they have oxygen tanks, they have foot massage, and other things to demonstrate what they do when they're on a campus. They need much more space in order to demonstrate what they have available, so they actually have purchased 2 booths to do a booth demonstration. If you're bringing in an unusual program, a novelty, which you wish to showcase in the exhibit hall, you'll need to do a booth demo, and you may need to purchase 2 booths to make sure you have adequate space. The retractable banner is a very popular means of booth decoration. As you can see from this banner, it retracts into the stand almost like a roller window shade. This is a very effective method of decorating your booth and illustrating what you do. However, let me caution you that the metal base, the roller stand, is very heavy, and it's one more thing you have to transport. Another option you might want to consider is a basic stand which collapses and folds, and here's an example of how these work. Because your banner will be set up and left for the entire conference, you don't have to retract it every day and every night like you would in a restaurant. So this is a very cost-effective means of displaying your banners, but it's also very light and easy to transport. Here's another effective means of decorating your booth. You can see that Michael Bo Williams has a banner hanging from the pipe and drape behind him. He has a very clearly defined style, very obvious who he is and what he does. You'll also notice that the banner can be simply rolled up and placed in a tube for transportation. There's no hardware supporting the banner. And also on the table he has in front, you can see all sorts of items that he has to offer. For example, he has t-shirts that he'll be giving away during exhibit halls. He also has books, postcards, brochures, and other information to distribute to delegates that are here. Another example of a hanging banner. You can see the banner is hanging from hardware and has a very beautiful and artsy look, clearly recognizable as the college agency. Here's an example of a booth demonstration which is actually taking place outside of the exhibit hall. This associate takes pictures in the big inflatable chair. This is called a roving artist, and they're able to showcase what they're doing anytime the exhibit hall is open or between ed sessions and between showcases. Here's an example of another type of display. This is what's known as a sandwich board. And while it's not quite as portable as a roll-up banner, it's certainly stable and works very, very well both in the exhibit hall, outside the exhibit hall, and when they're on campus doing their programs. If you offer multiple services, it's a good idea to have multiple banners that explain what you do. You might also have multiple brochures to explain the different services, speakers, attractions that you represent. It's also nice if you can display those brochures in a stand. Lifts them off your table, has a very professional look. Also note I have on my stand a QR code. QR stands for Quick Response Code. Anyone with a smartphone which has a barcode reader can simply scan that QR code and it will take them directly to my website. Here's an example of a beautifully done professional banner, the cloth and frame banner. You can see it's composed of pieces of fabric which are suspended between the aluminum frames, very well designed, professionally done, and very easy to transport. It's also very eye-catching. Before you arrive at an APCA conference, you'll receive an email which will contain the delegate list. You'll also receive on-site a printed version of the delegate list. This is a great way to keep track of who is attending the conference, whether they've been by your booth or not. You'll also want to bring a calendar with you to keep track of contracts, possible dates, any current dates that you have booked, and to be able to illustrate to potential buyers exactly what dates are available. Your delegate badge is also very important. You'll need to wear your delegate badge to be admitted to any exhibit hall, to any showcase, and to any mill function. It's also the way you can keep track of the folks who come by your booth. Call them by name and see which school they're representing. We hope you've enjoyed this tour around an APCA exhibit hall. Whether it's your first time here, or your 5th, or your 10th, or your 15th exhibit, we want you to be successful here. If you have any questions, check out www.apca.com.